Before we start, I would like to request you, if you like the content of these videos, please like, share, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel and click on the notification icon. Also, I would like to say that from the 9th of September, my next price action coaching batch is starting, which is a 65-hour course. If you're interested in joining that, please join our Discord server and drop me a DM. Hello traders, let us take a look at what we are expecting for tomorrow, what are the support resistance areas that we have at this point, and let us again start at the monthly chart. As you can see, the monthly chart is almost similar to yesterday's. It's just that we closed around the 42 area yesterday, but today's closure has happened a little bit lower. We are still above this particular micro gap on the monthly chart. We came down below this, but we found immediate support there. Once we break down these lows and once we are below these levels and we are closing strong below this 552018 levels, there is a possibility that we will come to this 5466 level. Once we get down to the 5500, the 5492, those are the levels that we will take a look in the lower time frames. But on the monthly time frame, if the price comes down tomorrow, this 5463 to 65 area will be really important, and we will have to look if there is a bounce or not. If there is no bounce, the next area for the bears will be this 5433 area, and below that we can even come to the 5417 area, which is the 5 EMA on the monthly chart. If we are going above, we will have to see that we are getting above this 5577 area. So I was expecting the price to go here today to the 557075 areas, but we failed to do that. So if we are getting above that, then we can target the 5589 to the 90 area. We know that the 90 to 94, there is very good resistance at that point. We do have a breakout gap right there, and if we can get above that, we can get into the 560203s again, and we can hold this level. Even if we do a trading range between the 5602 and the 5589890 area, there is a chance that we can still go up. Let us now take a look at the weekly chart. On the weekly chart, we can see that we got rejected right here today around the 556061 area. That was the low of last week. We could not get above that. So in order to go up, I would like to see that the price is coming up here and then it is going up in this area, which has been broken down. This was the micro gap. So at this point, we will have to see in the 5585 to the 5576 area if we still find bears, and then we will have to see if we are breaking down the 61 again and then coming down. Otherwise, if this 85 area holds and we keep on going up, then we can get above the 5600 area and target this 5615 once again. Also at this point of time, I would remember that the 5589 or the 5589.5 area, that is the 50% area of this particular weekly candle. That is also in sync with our 90 to 94 area of resistance. So if we can get up here, there is a high probability that we will again dump down from here. Now, if this area holds and we can get above that 90 to 94 area, we can again get above 5600 and get these levels on the upside. On the downside, if we are breaking down this 5507 area, which was the low of today, we can come down to the 5499 area, and if this 5499 area breaks down on the weekly chart, the next support on the weekly chart will be at the 5432 line again. And if you see, the 5432 line is currently the weekly 20 EMA. So we can bounce from there. And if we do not bounce from there, then we will come down to this 5386 to the 5376 area. I will keep this 5386 area also marked for now. Now, based on the weekly chart, I will have a bearish bias just because this was the first entry long. We had the pullback and we had a two-legged pullback, right? This was the first leg. This came down below the low of this candle, and then we went above the high of that candle. So that did complete the two-legged pullback. We had a kind of double top here, and then we are coming down. So this is actually the start of the second entry short. After this first entry short, this is the start of the second entry short. But then the week has not ended yet. We have to see how the week ends, and then we can say that based on this week's candle, this can be the second entry short, and there is a chance that the price will come down to the levels farther down. But we also need to remember the thing that we talked about, the ATR yesterday. The ATR last week ended somewhere around 148 points, and this week's ATR is already at 154 points, which is higher than the last 4 weeks ATR. But if the market wants to come down, it can come down. But even then, there is a possibility that the market will hold and it will start to reverse back up and stay in this trading range even for tomorrow. But tomorrow and day after, both the days, we have employment news at 8:30 a.m. in the morning, and we will have to see how the market reacts to that, and then take a call on how, in which direction the market is going to move. I will also keep this trend line here. We will have to see if the market comes down here, then whether it is getting a support at this trend line, which is at the 5219 area. That is pretty far away, and I'm not sure whether it will be possible for the market to come down this much this week itself. But if this weekly candle gives us a very good closure and then we can come down and close below the EMA, there is a possibility that we can come down to this 5219 area, maybe in the subsequent next 2 weeks. Let us now take a look at the daily chart. So in the daily chart, we see this is a trading range bar, right? It has a long wick at the top. It has a long wick at the bottom. It is a trading range bar. We did try to get above this particular wedge line, but then we went back up and we failed again. We touched the EMA. We tried to get above the EMA. We stayed above the EMA for some time. But here again, we failed near the low of last week. And then we came back down all the way and finally closed the day red, right? But if you see, if this is a trading range day, this is the 50% area. The 5536 is the 50% area, and we have closed right above the 33% line. Now we will have to see if we can get above this 50% area and hold this and then target this 5546 area again. Once we get above this, the next areas will be the 55522 to the 5560, and then if we can get above the 65 area, we will enter this particular box, which at this point of time I'm expecting there will be some bearishness inside. But if the bulls keep pushing it, we can come to this 5580 to the 81 area, and then we can get to this 5593 to the 94 area right here. And if we do not fail this area, then we will continue to go to the 5600 and then to the 5615 to the 19 areas. At this point of time, I will keep a line right here so that we know that this is one of the 5594 areas will be an important line for tomorrow on the daily chart. Now, if we get below this 33%, we will have to see that if there is any kind of bullish activity here. But if you see after this strong move, this was actually a follow through. So that is making me think that there may be a bearish move here. But if you see, the bears could not close below this 5526 line. We did go down below the 5526 line during the regular trading hours, but we immediately found bulls there at the low of yesterday and at the low of today, and we bounced back above and closed above the 33%. So it is highly possible that overnight we can stay between these 5525 and the 5545 ranges. And then we will take a look at it in the morning and then decide which way the market moves. But if we give up this 5507 area, and then we can come down to this 5499 again, which we also saw on the higher time frame chart, failing which we will come somewhere in this box in 5488 to the 5471 area. I will keep this 5481 area also as a line here, and after that we can find ourselves in the 5460 to the 5457 areas again. Now at this point we have to look at the EMA logic on the daily chart as well, right? So now we have two candles which has closed below the 20 EMA, and one of them has a close on its low. So there is a big possibility that even if we get back up to the EMA once again, we will get rejected once again and we will start coming down. And then we will have to see if we are breaking down all these levels. We will have to make sure that we know about these fib levels right here. And once we are breaking them down, then we can come down to the subsequent levels on the downside. Now let us look at the ATR that we had today. That is at 85 points. So if we are saying that from the close of this bar, we will come down around 85 points, then we will be able to see somewhere in the 5440 area. But if we are holding the close of today and then we start coming up, then we will find ourselves somewhere around the 5612 to the 5613 area if we want to get the 85 points to the upside. Now, if I look right here, the 4-hour chart is actually asking for a two-legged pullback. This was the first leg, this was the pullback, and then we may have a second leg which can come above this 5540 area, and then we will have to see if we are holding this 5540 area. If we are holding that, then we may come up to the 5552. I will remove this line from here for now, the daily EMA line. So if we can get across above this 5540 area and we start holding this line, then we will have to see whether we can get above the 5546. If we get above the 5546, then we will come somewhere around the 5557 to the 5565 area again. And if we can get above that, we will reach the level at 5575, which is the 20 EMA on the 4-hour chart. And then we can get to this 5580 area. And if the bulls are strong enough at this point of time, and if we can push through these areas, we will come to the 5594, and then we will get to the 5604 to the 12 area again. And then if we keep on moving up, then we can see the 20 to the 18 area once more. However, there is a high possibility that we can get a double top here, or even we can get up to this 5575 area and get rejected. But that will again depend on whether we are getting above the daily EMA, the daily 20 EMA, holding that. Only then there is a possibility that we will get to this 5575 tomorrow, and only after we have cleared out this 5565 area area, right? And if you're long somewhere in this area, then when you reach here, you will have to raise your stop loss higher near this 5557, 5558 area, because we have seen that there was a strong sell-off from here today. And if even if we come up and do a double top here, we can have another sell-off tomorrow again. On the downside, once we get down this 5516 or the 5515.5 area, I will put that a little bit down here. This is kind of a double bottom here on the 4-hour chart, and we will mark it as such. And if we can break that down, we can get to this next double bottom at the 5507 area. We will have another line mark there as well. Failing which, we will come down to this 5493 to the 5484 area, and then to the subsequent levels on the downside. Now on the 4-hour chart, depending on when the price is coming down, we will have to keep an eye on this wedge line as well. So if you see, this was the first touch, second touch, third touch, and maybe we will have a two-legged pullback right now, and then the price will start to fall. Based on that, if this is the whole size of the pullback and we want to do a 1:1 of the pullback at this point, once we break down this 5507, 5505 area, then this 5450 will be a 1:1 of this whole pullback that we had, and the price will come down to this area once again. Now, if we look at the 1-hour chart, we will see this was the first leg up, this was the second leg up. We came down before that, but we got a double bottom here and we created the second leg to the top. And then the bulls got trapped right here and we came down. This was the first leg down. We went back up. This is the second leg down. We even went back up and had a third leg down after that. Now the price is moving sideways. Now we will have to see whether the price is able to hold this 551718 area, or even the low of today, or even the low of this RTH session at the 5513 to the 14.75 area. So basically the 13 to 15 area. So if we are holding that and we bounce back up and get above this 29 to the 30 area, we will again try to get to the 38 to the 40 line, and then we can come and test this micro gap, the bearish micro gap that we have here. So the bearish micro gap is still existing here, because what I consider is there has to be two closures above that, otherwise the bears are still there and the micro gap is still valid. So that is why this micro gap is still open at this point. So we will have to see if we can get over this and we can come back to this 5564 area once again, the 65 area once again. If we can get above that, we will come to this near this 4-hour 20 EMA at 557980, and then we can get to this 5589 and then to this 5603 areas. And if we are above the 5603 areas and we can hold that, especially above this 5598 area, then we will definitely come to this 5526 to the 35 area once again. Now, if we are coming down and we break down this 5507 area right here, then the next stop, as we saw earlier also, will be the 5492 area. There are multiple supports in this area, but if the bears are strong, which they are at this point, then we can come to the 5477 to the 54758, and finally to this balance area between 5463 and 5452. Now we are moving sideways outside this channel. We created two legs to the upside, and now we need to come down in order to create a new extreme. We need a very strong break of this 5507 area, and only after we break this down, we will be able to see whether we are able to come farther down and at what point we are getting a very good bounce. Now, it was expected that after this strong move, we will have a sideways movement for some time. We had the sideways movement as of now. Now, on the hourly chart, we do have this kind of a wedge bottom at this point. So we will have to see when the price comes down whether we are bouncing from this line. I do not know at exact what point it will bounce. Now, if the price keeps on moving sideways overnight on the hourly chart, and then there will be a lot of room for the price to come down and hit this trend line at the bottom. Looking at this RTH 5-minute chart in this particular trading range, none of the resistance lines are changing on the upside. However, we will be adding this particular line here, which is at 5516.75. This has been a very good support yesterday as well as today. Now, if we are breaking this down, then we can come to this 5512 area. If you look at this, if this is a head and shoulder structure that is forming with this as the neckline, I was expecting that the price will actually come down to the 5512 area today, considering that this was the neckline, but that did not happen and we bounced right above that. But we will have to see tomorrow morning where the price is standing. If we are breaking down this 13 line, then mostly we will come down to this 5492 area. As I stated earlier also, this was the area of a spike, one solid candle, and then we will have to see whether we can come to the 50% of this candle to the 5502 area, and then if we break it down, we will come to the 5492, and then subsequently we can come down to the 547 7.3 or the 7.2 areas once again. So if you're looking to the left, you will see that there is the buy zone again at 5488 to the 5484.75 area. That is the buy zone where we created the gap, and this is if we come down to this 5488 line, that will actually close the gap to the downside. And we also need to remember that this 5526.25 line is actually the other end of the gap right here. We have tried to come down below that line multiple times, but every time we have come from the next levels, we have already bounced and closed above that. Now, if we are getting above this 3940 level again tomorrow morning, there is still a chance that this trading range will continue. And if we break out of this, our next target will be somewhere between the 46 to the 51 area, above which we will again see this 56 area, and then we can come to this 61 to the 68 area once again, and then we will see if the price is getting rejected here once again, or we keep on going up and get to this 5570 and then to this 75 and subsequently to these areas on the upside. So that is all the analysis that I have for now. Based on this, we will be back tomorrow morning at 8:45 a.m. EST after the news items have been declared at 8:30 a.m. EST, and then we will have the pre-market call. If you want to join the pre-market call, the link to the Google Meet is given in the description below. In the description below, you will also find the link to our free Discord server along with our Facebook page, and you are very welcome to join there. In the description below, you will also find the link to all these charts that we have been discussing. I will end the video here today, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow morning. Have a great night, everyone. Bye.